today's show, Kittyhawk Jaguar. This is the 1/48 scale, so we'll be seeing how the video build's getting on with that one and seeing if it's getting any better. Photo Etch 101. The first part went up on Tuesday for the Photo Etch, how to use it, bend it, fold it, cut it and everything else like that. So we'll have a quick recap on that one. We also had the live show on Tuesday, so big thank you for that one. On Wednesday we started on the Tamiya. This is the Tusker Rebox of the Easy 8 Sherman kit. Absolutely beautiful kit. I've been working on it quite a lot this week, so we'll be having a recap on that one. Thursday we had the reviews, so we actually had the Bandai new 1/72 X-Wing fighter from Star Wars. That I like a lot, okay. And also we had the Kittyhawk, their first endeavour into the helicopter world. This is their new AH-1Z. This is the Viper. Actually is a good kit, we do like that one. We're going to reveal the winner from the prize draw, this from last month, and have a look at this month's. Plus all the other news and gossip. Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Flory. Busy week this week. Sunday we had obviously the members meet in the afternoon. I hope the new time slot was a little bit easier for some of you and everything else like that. Certainly a lot of laughs as always. Then Monday it was basically on with the Jaguar, and as I say, it's now I'm in the nice bit. Before, yeah, the kit, it doesn't fit together. We've still got this 1mm join down the back, which now means all those panels that never closed before now close up a dream. So somewhere the kit I think is missing 1mm, but generally we're in that stage now where all the hard work's done. I've done all the filler work, I've refilled again with some of the sink marks we had. Obviously it's been sanded, rescribed, re-riveted and everything else like that. So actually we're into the bit now where I can get the canopy on, get it all closed up and everything ready for primer. Then we can get it through the paint stage, which I'm going to absolutely love. We're going to do that fantastic winter camo on this one, so it's going to have that temporary white coat over the green, and we're going to have lots of it sort of showing through and been worn through and chipped through and things like that. So we're going to do plenty of different items on that one. So have a quick look. This wing section we were saying about, it's a bit nasty, so we can go in there and sand it. So for all of this we've just got a thin skinny, and we're not too worried about sort of the collateral damage of areas around it because we're going to have to put it all in. But all we're going to do now is just sand this in. Okay, pretty much just to take care of this seam line. As you can see, it levels down very well, but as you can see, the shiny bits, we're going to try and get rid of all of them. Alright, so we're just laying it on a flat surface and going, and because this is our gunky stuff, which is made of styrene, liquid styrene, that's all this is, it'll be great, very easy to sand over. It should blend in really well into the styrene itself. Okay, and then shouldn't have a problem with any of this going over, and we'll very easily pop back in details that we're going to lose, such as riveting, panel lining and all those areas. Okay, so we give them a good old, so we can clean out the old ones as we normally do. So we're just going to put our scriber in here, work out exactly where we're going to go to. So okay, it's just going to come down to here, just doubly checking. Okay, and then if you put the scriber in the hole so you don't jump out. Okay, and as you can see, we haven't lost any of that detail. We're just going to pop it back in and freehand it now. Or a pin in a vise. Okay, and we're just going to pop in the detail back in there, and because we've used our nice gunky stuff, it's the same type of pressure that we've had for the others. So we're just going to go around, pop this riveting all back in. And this is what we're saying, really for the sake of 10 minutes work, it saves a lot of messing around of having to go back in and rescribe and everything else. Just going to open up those holes again. Alright, so we've just got this front panel to pop back in, along with a little bit of wash, for instance, and check your panel lines just to make sure you're all happy with it. Alright, and just pop this in and you'll be able to see exactly how your panel line detail is, if you need to fix any problems, okay, or anything else. Alright, so we just give this a bit of a wipe. Okay, once it's dry, literally just wipe it off. You can see all those panel lines. If you're missing a few or things like that, you can take care of those right now, and it's not going to affect anything later on with your builds. Okay, so I'll do exactly the same to the other wing, tidy up this wiring, all the bits and pieces like that, and we can start to put it together. Okay, so as you can see, this is the test areas we did for re-putting in the panel lines. As I say, the wash, it just helps and makes you sort of, you know, makes a check to see if you've got your riveting back in, all in the right place and everything else like that. And as you can see, both of those done. Can't see where those joins are. Absolutely lovely job. So they're ready to go in. Okay, the instrument area, as you can see down in here, we've actually put it in and installed it. So as you can see, some very nice details in there. If we just drop down that top camera just to have a look. As you can see, basically we've used the colour Photo Etched set because down in here we had some of the parts for up here. Now all I've done is I've actually put a little bit more in than obviously just sticking on the placards. The placards are very useful, but some of them I haven't bothered because I've got wiring in there anyway. But as you can see, it livens all of that up really, really nicely. And don't forget, in the set you get this bit as well for the framework, and that's going to go on the outer part of the doors, so it should lend itself to being very well detailed up. The other one is we've put the little placard down in here for the actual nose wheel well. Now, there's a couple of bits and pieces we need to talk about. Basically, as you can see, I've installed and put these guys in here and weathered in, as you can see. One thing you need to be aware of, when you're going to put all these in, you need to put it together all first, okay? So in this case, here we are, we've got the exhaust system put in, which goes onto the other side of the gear, and this is glued in here. The thing that you actually have, we'll just move that camera out a little bit. What can happen is, if you try and install this, if I just get the other parts, what are we doing with them? We've got the main wheel well, which sort of fits in just like this. The front one you can put in afterwards, but if you put it in like this, okay, you can't actually get the gear in to put it in, all right? So it's important that you put this rear part is going to fit in just like this. So it sort of drop the gear right the way through and in. Okay, so there we go. As I said, that's part 2. Part 3 will be up next week, which I'm hoping, with a bit of clever editing, will get you almost up to this stage. And then, as I say, part 4 will be into the paint stage and everything else like that. But just doing that nose work really, really nice and getting it together has worked really, really well. So, you know, plenty to look forward to on that particular build. Tuesday we had the live show, obviously the fun and games that go on with that one. Big thanks for Steve again for joining us, and obviously for Sid and everything else. Thank you for all your great questions. Also the other thing as well was Photo Etching 101 went up. It's been asked for a lot of it. As I say, part 1 just basically covered what is photo etch, the right way to bend it, the right way to get it off the sprue, and then obviously for folding it and gluing it, just the basics of. Part 2 next week is going to then sort of carry that on. I'm probably going to put it up Monday. And then talk about a little bit more in depth about photo etch and using it and bending it and rolling it and all those different things to get it together, and then about priming it and putting it through. As I said, it was like 6 hours of filming into like 1 hour. It just shows how long photo etch can actually take. And this one, as I said, probably is the most complicated thing I've built in photo etch. It's one of those things. I'm a great believer in photo etch is great if it is providing bang for the buck, shall we say. Okay, if you're getting good detail with it, then it's definitely worth doing it. Something like that, definitely not. Not for the amount of time and hassle and everything else, was something you're never going to see. But as you said, if you're into your modelling and your detailing and for super detailing, then you're going to love this stuff. What we're going to try and do over the next sort of half an hour to an hour is basically show you the 3 steps of photo etch. So obviously, first of all, you've got manoeuvring it around, so i.e. getting it off of the sprues and bending it, things like that. Then we've got actually fixing it and gluing it. Different ways of doing that one. And then we've obviously got how to paint it, which a lot of people struggle with, because obviously it is quite tricky trying to get paint to stick on this thing. So first of all, some of the tools you're going to need. Okay, really you don't need to go out and spend a fortune on tools such as like this guy. This is a hold and fold, basically, as they used to call them. You can get them in various shapes and sizes. They cost anything from around about £20 up. You can get some very expensive ones. A set of bending pliers, which are always handy. These are flat, these have got edges on them and things like that, really, so you can sort of bend them around to various sizes and things like that. You can also get, for rolling out photo etched ones with different size hoops, and that's wood and various things. You can have all those things, and they all are very nice, and to be honest, I've got them. But you don't have to. A cheap pair of craft pliers like these, as long as they're flat, i.e. you've got no teeth in them whatsoever, literally are like £1 in your local hobby type place, and to be honest, this is my partner's. Okay, so we've got these, all right, and you've got another ones here which are obviously like your pointy type for actually rolling around photo etch and bending it around. You can also use a nice soft type of mat. A cutting mat is too hard. It needs to give something. I know people do it on their legs, thighs, things like that, but a mouse mat is ideal, because actually what you can do is place your photo etch down, roll it around and keep rolling on itself, and you can actually make perfect curves just by doing that. Okay, it's a nice, easy, straightforward way of doing it. We'll show you a little bit more about that later. So, you know, don't think you have to go out and spend an absolute fortune. You can get specialist scissors as well for removing, obviously, these off. To be honest, I use my orange scissors as I do for everything else, or a knife. Okay, a couple of things you do have to remember. First of all, photo etch by its nature is very flat. Keep it as flat as long as possible. As soon as you start to get bends in it and everything else, it's going to fight you all the way, because normally with photo etch, it's not designed totally to be a curved part. It's usually going to make squares, boxes, and things like that. There's a couple of things to look out for when you got hold of the parts, when you look at them. Let me just try and find an easy part to show you. For instance, making sure you're folding in the right direction. Okay, it might seem really, really simple, but when you look at them on the sprue, you might be able to see this little guy here has got lines in it. Okay, so you're going to be folding in towards the lines. If you look on the other side, it's the blank. Okay, tends to be more detailed on the reverse side to it. Okay, some of them obviously are going to bend other ways, things like that, but just remembering which is the face side. So for instance, when you're looking at obviously these guys, you can see all the riveting details, what we're going to have a go with today, and on the other side you've got riveting, but it's never quite as sharp, shall we say. And obviously if you look at this one, it's just flat. You look at the other side, it's got lines down it where it's going to have folds and various things. Okay, so just be aware what is the face side and what isn't, and which way it's going to bend. Okay, because as you imagine with all metals, if you bend it one way and it's incorrect, and then you go to bend it the other, it's going to snap, it's going to shear off. The structure of the actual the metal is just going to shear. Okay, so just be aware of which way you're going to be folding it and the reasons why. Okay, because otherwise you are going to be in that trouble where you go to do it and it snaps, and as soon as this stuff snaps, it's a little bit of a nightmare trying to repair it and things like that. So removing the parts, basically the way I do it, pretty much old school. I use a pair of scissors. These have got a very narrow tip on them. As you can see, I can get it right in here and I can just nip the tip very flush, very cleanly. All right, and I'm just using the tip of the blade of the scissors to nip the part off. Okay, I don't want to be taking a big chunk of it, because if you come along and take too much with it, I'll just get this one out nicely, I can show you. Okay, one left over. There's always one. Okay, you can literally have it like this. It still remains flat, and if you look at it, we've got no edges on it that have got dents in it. Now if you come along with, you know, you're trying to remove your part out, if I find one on one of my waist ones for instance, okay, and you come in with your scissors and you go in and you've cut it, as you might be able to see, we've made a dent in that corner. Okay, and now you've got to try and straighten that out, which isn't mass problem, but it's just a hiccup you don't really want to do, because as soon as you start getting dents in it like this, it's just going to be that situation when you try and lay it on something flat, it's not going to go down right and everything else. So there you go. So as I said, part 2 I'm going to put up on Monday. I was going to try and put it up today, but I don't think I'm going to have time with editing, so I just need to finish off the editing with that one. So the last part of that will be up on Monday, and then in the future what I'm going to do is I'm going to do various new ones on things. So obviously that's photo etching 101, then we're going to go back to something else, and now we've got all these great camera angles and stuff like that. I might just revisit a few little areas, like working with resin is going to be my next one, and dealing with and painting up something like a resin cockpit as a standalone item, or like a wheel well or something else like that, showing about cutting off obviously the block, health and safety working with resin and all those types of things. So there's plenty to look forward to on that one. Wednesday, what do we have Wednesday? The Sherman Easy 8. As I said, this is a beautiful kit. It's the Tusker Reeboks, obviously Tamiya have reboxed it, put it in. I find that not only do I love the fit, there's no fit issues with this, it's literally just clicked together, certainly no filler anywhere, but the ease of the build, it's absolutely a real breath of fresh air and everything else like that, putting them all together. So basically all you're going to do is snip them carefully off of the sprues, and these come in 2 parts. All right, so we just got this one and this one. Now this inner plate, which is this guy here, is no problem at all. Okay, I just have a pile of them there. These ones you just need to do a little cleanup just to make sure you've got the little gates from the sprue tabs out of the way, because otherwise what's going to happen is they're going to interfere with the fit. So from my point of view, I've done it literally with just a blade, gone round, I just cleaned them up. Okay, the other thing to remember is one on every single sprue is like this guy. Okay, this has no pins in it whatsoever. All right, so don't end up trying to put it in. It's at one end of one of the sprues. All right, so we got all them separate. So the easiest thing with these is they literally have pins down in this section here. All right, and what these are going to do is literally just going to come along. So if I just drop down the top camera, and perhaps we'll just bring in the other one a little bit closer. Okay, and we'll just drop this down just a little bit more. So hopefully you can see, you just have a situation where you're going to come along and start off at one end, all right, and then we're just going to put another one down on top of it, and another one down. And I've been doing them in 3s and 4s, all right. So you get 3 or 4 in a row. So let's just do, tell you what, we'll push the boat out. We're going to do 4, all right. So they go in there like that. Now you need a glue. The trouble is, if you're going to use a thin, extra thin glue, you know, something like our normal one, like this one, what's going to happen is it's going to flow off, it's going to go to those pin joints, they're going to weld, you're going to go to maneuver it, to bend it, and it's just going to shear off. Or it's just going to weld solid and you're never going to be able to move it. Okay, so for that purpose, what we've been using is our liquid styrene mix stuff, okay? The reason we like this one is it's basically extremely thick glue. We use it as a filler, we use it for a very thick glue as well, okay? The idea being is when you put it down, it's so thick it's not going to, capillary action is not going to run off with it and sort of seal everything up. So all I've been doing is literally poke those together, is come along, okay? Grab a little bit more on the brush, all right, and we've just literally been touching spots, and we don't need much, okay? See there, probably a little bit too big, but we'll run with it, all right? Just like that. All right, dripping on the map, that'll make a clean spot. Okay. All right, and then using a pair of tweezers, because you can pick these little guys up quite easily, you're literally just going to come along, grab it, and then come in. If we just place this up where we can all get a good look, all right, you come up and then over the top of the pin and in. All right, so we just keep this lot together. Okay, then we're just going to grab another one. Okay, come along, and then we're just going to pop it in. And the thing is, they need to push down positive. If you don't push down positive, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a gap. Like you get a tiny little gap just down on this guy, just down here. You'll find when you put your finger in there, it pushes it down and then locks it all together. Now you might get, like we've got here, as we said, a little bit too much glue. It go together, but hopefully you'll be able to maneuver it slightly round. Once you've done a few, you can then add a few more, but it's just a case of popping them down and on the top. All right, so we're just going to come along, making sure we're all the right way. We just do another couple. All right, so I've got my glue a bit everywhere now. Okay, but this glue, the idea is it's so thick and gooey and glump, okay, it's not going to travel too far and it's not going to wreck your system. All right, and the nice thing about this is because you've got the gap on these tweezers, when it comes in, okay, you can literally pop this down, it goes over the top of the others and literally just sits down on there. Now you don't have any trouble with ejector pin marks and all things like that, so don't worry about it, you all should be good, but they'll go in. And what happens is when it's in properly like that, it actually all pulls together and you should end up with something a little like that. And this is one I just did a little bit earlier. All right, literally So it's just going to come in just like this, and usually it's pretty rigid, but now it's been drying for a couple of hours, you should be able to start to maneuver it, okay? And if you give it a bit of a wiggle, any joins you've had where it's overdone it, it should all start to, like it is now, it's all getting very soft, and it's starting to be able to bend and everything else, and I think it will conform very, very nicely to what we're sort of needing. And I've done these other ones, we've got these other guys down here, which as you can see, some sections is quite strong, others is quite soft. So there's a clip from part 1. Part 2 is going to be obviously be up next Wednesday as well, which will basically get you to this stage. To be honest, I'm carrying on with this one this afternoon, where I hope to have the turret system done. And as you know, I haven't got the bits here, but the tracks are all done, all the wheels, all the bogies and everything else like that. They're all completed and built and put together and all those things. So really we can actually start pushing on with this one, getting it together. And I think by next week, it's going to be an airbrushing week, because obviously we can paint and weather and do the bits and pieces obviously onto the Sherman, and obviously we're going to get going with the Jag on that one. So really are pushing ahead with these two, pushing through very, very nicely. Remember, keep your votes coming in for your next build you want to see. Currently at the moment in the lead, we have the Meng M3A3 Bradley, and I do have, although I don't know if I'm going to use it, because when we did the review we found out the tracks are brilliant, but I have got a set of aftermarket Bigfoot tracks for it. Okay, and I think next one up of that is close, a couple of things going on, but it does look like at the moment it's going to be the FA2 Sea Harrier. This is the Kinetic 148th kit. So remember, keep your votes going into the forum and you can actually catch up on that one. Okay, so we've got the prize draw ended last month. Okay, so obviously I've gone through, and to be honest, I did it on the random generator earlier on the little web page, and we came up with a winning number for January, which was number 384. That was the post number, and that was by Keith Ross. So well done, Keith. We'll get your bits and pieces from the prize draw up to you this week. I'll send you a PM shortly if you can let me have your address, and we can get that off to you. If you want to join in with this month's one, remember you have to be a member, go into the forum. So if you're not registered on the forum, make sure you register on the forum. You can go through then and just put count me in, the usual bits and pieces. And this month, I can't remember what I should do this month off the top of my head, but it's going to be a sticker set. I think it's a set of washes and obviously the pen and the black badge and everything else like that. So plenty to get on that one. And I'll say free to enter, doesn't cost you anything, and you can pop yourself in just like that. Next week we're at Huddersfield. Yes, we're going up north, which is about, I don't know, 7-hour drive from where we are down here in Devon in the southwest. We're going up to the Huddersfield show, so there won't be any news show next Friday. As I said, that's purely because obviously we're going to have to leave here around about 10 o'clock in the morning to get up there for late afternoon. We'll probably have a few stops on the way up as well. So no news show next week. We'll have the live show, and on there I might have a go at starting to build the actual X-Wing. So what I'm going to do is, for non-members, you'll be able to see that on Friday instead of the news show, the X-Wing build and things like that. So plenty to look forward to on that one. Okay, Thursday we have kit reviews, 2 cracking kits. As I say, we had the X-Wing Starfighter, something a little bit different. As you know, I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to Star Wars. Love that type of thing. Love that kit. You know, absolutely fantastic. Van Dyke taken the torch and they've really run with it. Got some great kits coming out from that, so really like that one. Also, must admit, my favourite kit to date that they've done, I actually haven't built it, but I'd love to. The Kittyhawk 148 scale. This is the Viper. I know it looks like the Cobra. It's got a 4-bladed top and updated and everything else. So it went from being the Cobra to the Viper with the Z derivative on this one. It looks an amazing kit, so well worth having a look at this one. Both the reviews are obviously on the site now in the review section, or if not, they're on the Today page on Thursday. Okay, so that's it for this week. As I say, no news show next week because obviously we're not going to be here, but I'll put up something special for you, and I'll take the video camera with us to Huddersfield show as well to have a bit of a look around there. So looking forward to a weekend away there. So I'm going to leave you with Luke Bourgon. He's done an amazing 1/72 Millennium Falcon. This is the fine molds kit. We've been talking about it obviously with the 1/72 X-Wing, things like that, with Bandai taking over. He's done a brilliant job on this one with full LED, beautiful weathering and a diorama base with it. So until 2 weeks time, everybody, happy modelling and take care.